Botanicals is a local wellness boutique that specializes in infused fruit juices, medicinal herbal tea remedies, clean hair and body care, and herbal infused sea moss gels, which can be purchased 1 for $25 or 2 for $40. This sea moss contains 92 of the body's 102 essential minerals used to increase energy, relieve pain and inflammation, and improve blood pressure and more. From parasite cleanse to detox and weight loss to blood sugar control, Sonia Face Botanicals has a natural solution for you.
Check and double check your voting status. Get out and vote.
I remember these. Will I have the money to send my kid to college? That's specific. How long has that been there? 7-letter word for a bank that helps you reach your goals.
Synovus. Order for Synovus?
Thank you.
Are you Synovus?
Yes.
Are you gonna ask or should I?
A solid financial future doesn't happen by chance. Let's talk about your potential today.
Hello, I'm David Williams, District 3 Representative, seeking re-election to the Escambia County School Board. 4 years ago, I said, together we can make a difference. Today, I'm proud to say, together we have made a difference, thanks to your trust. And because of you, we do not have any failing schools. Our schools are safer, we've closed the achievement gap, and our students are college and career ready. I'm asking for your support again to re-elect me so that we continue the work that we started 4 years ago. Please visit my website at davidwilliams3.com to learn more about my initiatives I have accomplished and the ones I will pursue over the next 4 years. Early voting is August 8th through the 15th, and the primary is August 18th. Your vote is essential to keeping our community moving forward. Thank you.
Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel, for all of your men-wear needs.
Why wait? With Penn Air's fast approvals and low rates, getting a car loan is easier than ever. Penn Air Credit Union. Join us.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Call State Farm agent Arthur Searcy for your personal price plan today.
For 75 years, we've been caring for families, creating jobs, and working to build a healthier community. This is your home, and ours too. We're honored to be the trusted partner in your care. Baptist Healthcare, here for you then, now, and always.
As a service to our community, we pause to remember those who have recently passed. Our deepest condolences. Our thoughts and prayers are with each family during this time of loss. Thank you for allowing WBQP to serve our community.
Hi, this is Shale Gatson of Emmaus Baptist Church, Pensacola, Florida. We come before you this morning to pray on this Thursday morning. As a matter of fact, this is our Thursday of Thanksgiving. This is where we come and give the Lord thanksgiving for just being our God. Let us pray. Father God in heaven, we come in the strength of your might and in the might of your strength on this Thursday, dear God, just giving you all the praise, all the thanksgiving, all the glory for the edification of you yourself as our God. And so, Father, we're just sheep of your pasture, and we just cry out to you this morning, just blessing you with all the praise and thanksgiving on this Thursday, dear God. Thursday, the day of thanksgiving for your people. Lord, this is our sacred prayers. We pray now in the belovedness of Jesus the Christ, our Lord, our Savior. Amen.
Hi, Vernon. Here's your WBQP weekly weather forecast. It's another hot and humid week ahead across the Gulf Coast, with daily opportunities for showers and thunderstorms. Thursday stays warm and cloudy, with a 40% chance of scattered showers. Highs climb to 91 degrees while overnight temperatures hold near 78. And we wrap up the week on Friday with another 40% chance of scattered showers. Expect a high of 91 degrees and a low of 77. Overall, we're looking at hot afternoons, warm nights, and daily chances for pop-up showers and thunderstorms. This is Cheryl Mulrain, and that's your weekly weather forecast on WBQP TV.
Start your day with Mornings with Vernon on WBQP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Watch on Channel 12 and listen on WBQP Radio on your phone, Alexa, or CarPlay. WBQP is your information station.
All right, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. We had a computer glitch this morning again, so I hope everybody back join me again, okay? I see that Jeannie and Lois is back this morning, so everybody else back. Just give me just a thumbs up and let me know that we're back online again, okay? You know, stuff always happening. And if it ain't one thing, if my daddy would always say, if it ain't one thing, it's 7 or 8. So no, it's another dad. He said, nope, it ain't one thing, 7 or 8, son. So I think I believe what he's saying this morning. All right, y'all, let's get into some of the community news this morning, if you will. We'll see what we can start off with the headlines. We got quite a number of stuff starting.
Good morning. It's Thursday, Vernon. What's in the headlines news for Pensacola? Have a great day.
Live from WBQP News Desk, this is your Headlines News Summary with Vernon Watson.
Good morning, Cutie Vernon. It is great to be with you today. What's happening in the news in Pensacola today?
A lot of stuff happening, baby. Lot of stuff. All righty, y'all. Let's start off with some of the saddest news. I think is just this stupid war that we in this morning. This stupid war that we're seeing in our news headline this morning. Okay, stupid war. They brought home the soldiers. Here are the soldiers that was killed in Iraq over the weekend. Look what color they are. You know, 3 of the 4 people of color. Can you believe that? 3 of the 4. And these are young people, okay? These are young people. So had to die for no reason over a stupid policy of this stupid administration with this more stupid president, y'all. All right. Let me move on. You know, I guess Big Bertha is kind of moved out of the area, so they had to, while they was in the area, the Pensacola Blue Hawk, the Pensacola Wahoos had to postpone some of their games due to the high wind. We didn't get a lot. We got some weather now. We got some rain. Don't make no mistake about it. But we didn't feel the effects of Big Bertha. I always think Bertha had to be big. I don't know. I told you yesterday about a girlfriend named Bertha, and she wasn't big at all. She was a fine heifer, I tell you the truth. But anyway, Bertha is slamming into Louisiana and Texas, and so we didn't get a chance to get a lot of. But we was on precautionary measures. We had sandbags out there ready. They postponed the blue Wahoo game. Another thing they did. They were looking at, this is the nesting season for the sea turtles, and they was afraid that sea turtles going to be swept out to sea or the seawater going to destroy them and stuff like that. So, our white friends, I wonder how any black folks out there saving sea turtles. I hope so, but I don't know. But anyway, our white friends out there going to make sure that the sea turtles going to be okay. All right. Let's move on to this other story here, which related to the very first one I just talked about here, right here, is that the soldiers it did from the Iraq attack. Okay, the third one now is let me move on. Let me move on to some Pensacola story. Okay, I reported the other day about some burglaries out at Crab Island. Okay. Now, I don't know whether this graphic is correct. Okay. Don't get me wrong, but I don't believe it is correct. But whatever the results is, they did catch those folks. But I don't believe all those folks are black. I don't think black folks did this. When I got this graphics, I had to check to make sure that I'm pulling up the right thing, because when we work with computers, I'm going to fact check on this, but I don't believe black folks did this. Okay, I don't believe black folks did this, because when I put in my headlines and I said, y'all create me some graphics, I think AI is a racist. Okay, I think AI is a racist. I think they just automatically pull up. And didn't pull up the real name, but we'll see about that. You hold that story for me, okay? Hold that story. But the bottom line of that story is they did arrest 5 people for that burglary, okay? That happened out there at the restaurant I was telling you about the other day. All right. I'm so glad we're getting rid of this food here. Yep. He has drained, the coffers, all for emergency money had been depleted over this stupid Alcatraz prison. Good thing we didn't have a hurricane, because if we wouldn't have no money to pay for it. This is what it looked like, y'all. The emergency fund. He done spent all the money on this damn alligator Alcatraz, which they had to end up closing anyway. Okay. Where's Doge when you need him? Okay. Now he has his own state, Doge, looking for DEI, but spending money. These people need to be held accountable for this crap. Okay. They need to be held accountable for it. Okay. While they're wasting money on stuff that don't matter, and then like running down, wasting states refund resources on closing DEI programs and Black History books and all this kind of stuff, and then spending money on fruitless stuff like alligator Alcatraz. They ought to be held accountable. And I hope we get people in office that we need to send him to jail. We need to send him to jail. That's not a good steward of our taxpayers' dollars. I can tell you that right now. Let me move on, idiot. But anyway, City of Pensacola, y'all, is still considering doing a teen curfew as a result of that shooting the other night. I did have a speaking of the shooting the other night. I got my graphics in here somewhere, but they did catch the last of the 4 people that was involved with that shooting yesterday. I thought I had a graphic. I don't know what I'd do with it, but they did catch it. And they said case closed now. The 4th person been arrested, case closed. But the fallout of that is that the city of Pensacola now is finalizing some information on you see what I'm saying about how racist DEI is sometimes. Look who they got. Look what color they got DC Reeves in here. I just noticed this. Lord help me, Jesus, but we know he ain't black. But anyway, but they got this graphic right. Mitch McConnell, I can tell you that right now. But anyway, they're thinking about doing a curfew. Mitch McConnell, y'all, is missing in action. If you know who you don't know who Mitch McConnell is, okay, you might want to get on it. He's a senator that been there for 1,000,000 years that needs to retire. He's got one foot in the grave, and the other one on banana peel, which is on some grease and all of that kind of stuff. If he ain't slipped already in the grave. So question is, they saying that they thinking that, you know, the conspiracy theory is that he's already dead, but they don't want the public to know it. And why they don't want the Republicans to know it? And I don't put this past these Republicans. They do some they dirty tricksters. Okay, they do some dirty tricks. And the reason they don't want him dead is because the governor of Kentucky, which he's representing the state of Kentucky, happened to be Democrat. And guess who gets to replace the senator from Kentucky if this senator goes away? Okay, now, and that is a Democrat. So they don't want that to happen. So they're trying to keep Mitch alive, just like they keep Hope alive. Keep Mitch alive. Keep Mitch alive. Okay, that's what it is. All right, let's move on. Lindsey Graham's sister, Sweetie Pie, they're going to be burying Sweetie Pie sometime or another, but I don't think that she's taking on all of the controversial issues that her hawkish brother did. So you're going to read about that as you can. I'm just going to go over a lot of these details real quickly here. A man from Gulf Breeze, we got him right, okay? He get 4 years in federal prison for attempting to entice a minor, okay? Janet, what you call them? Perverts. That's what she called them. She called them perverts. Yeah, she called them perverts. But anyhow, keep your eye on that story. Also, they trying to make the mayor of New York City, Mondani, out of something else. They saying that Republicans pushing back because he's right. And I think Trump is a war criminal. Yeah, I heard they saying that Netanyahu is also a war criminal because of the acts that they did on those folks over there. And so he's saying that they were saying that he said that if he come to New York, he's going to arrest him. But I don't think New York got the power to do that. But nevertheless, they're just trying to it's charged, but they're trying to dirty up the new mayor because they don't want socialist communism and stuff like that. All right, let's go to African American news here real quickly. Y'all know Theo, right? Malcolm Jamal Warner wife is suing his mother over his estate. Y'all read about that in African American news, okay? That's happening well, you probably won't get that in the main news. Also, the House prepared to vote on the National Defense Authorization budget. And I got another graphic here down here that they talking about they approved a $1.1 trillion budget for the Pentagon. Y'all please help me understand what is happening here, okay? Keep your eyes out on that story. Another stuff happening in Black America, y'all. The NAACP had its 117th National Convention in Chicago. I think it's Chicago. I believe it was in Chicago this year. They have it almost every year in July. So read about what's happening with that, okay? Also, other news in African American news is the voting rights advocate hold Good Trouble Lives on event honoring John Lewis, okay? So you read about that. They hundreds of events is being planned around the country to honor Good Trouble in the name of voting rights this year. Okay. NAACP also is calling for a federal investigation of these two black men in Tennessee, where the police killed folks up there in I think it's up in Memphis. Keep your eyes out on that story that's happening in Africa, America, and in Black world. This is Black news. Also, the federal judge rejected the Justice Department effort to obtain voting rights stuff from New York, out of New York there, where the Trump administration is trying to get more voter suppression stuff. Okay, this lady here out of Georgia, this black lady, black Georgia teacher, she was found. If you hadn't heard about that story, you need to read about it. But she was found, a black teacher was found not guilty on all 13 assault counts. The jury cleared her on some special education stuff about that she was involved with students. You need to read all about that. You probably won't hear that in the normal news, but that's what happened in Black news. Also, more stuff in Black news. You probably heard that. You never heard of Arthur Jeffy. He's a celebrated artist. He's trying to transform the Black experience into art, visual art, and stuff like that. I like to report new cultural news and stuff like that. Keep your eyes out on that story as well. More Black news you can use. Black representation faces challenges after the Supreme Court voting rights ruling. We all know what's happening. The decision that the Supreme Court made has really threatened our existence. And so Black folks now, we're not going to just lay down and take it. So we're actually doing something about it across the country here. All right, let's go on to this genius here. Pete Hegseth is a poor excuse for a Secretary of Defense. But anyhow, they want some emergency funding, $87 billion in emergency funding as this stupid war goes on. Okay, they got almost $1 trillion defense budget. Now they want an $87 billion more to supplement this war. I hope Congress ain't stupid enough to fall for that okie doke. I had to report yesterday that already he admitted they already spent $37.5 billion already on this war already, and if that's what he testified to. So in that case, you know they done spent three times more, and now they're asking for $87 billion more to support that. Think so. Jay Clayton, y'all, was nomination. He's going now. This is the guy that they wanted to do for the DNI, I believe. So his nomination is going now to the full Senate for a vote. So stay tuned to that. See what's happening in that. Let's go to a little bit more African American news headlines. This young man, I think they already they had his burial, I believe, but they found they sent his Ben Crumpner sent his body to have an independent autopsy did, and so the preliminary autopsy leaves some questions that they couldn't rule out. Y'all help me understand the pathologist rule. They say that they couldn't rule out or rule it in whether or not his death was foul play or not. It's still up. In other words, it's up in question. And the reason for that is because they're saying that because the pathologists here in Mississippi removed some body parts, something like that, and they couldn't conclusively make a decision on what happened in that. All right, let's move on to some more news in African America. This lady, R&B singer here, revealed that she has a leukemia diagnosis. Okay, so you get that here in Black news. More Black news you can use. I don't have to tell you because you can feel it for yourself. but is it confirmed, reporting confirmed the economic pressures that Black women are facing in this country over these policies. We're getting Black women. You know when they say if white people get a cold, we got the flu. Okay, if men get a cold, women got the flu. So in other words, and when not only women, but if you're a Black woman, it is worse. So pull it up and read about that studies. I don't have time to get into all these great stories, but I just want to report a lot of these things. Also in Black news, Joy and Justice Tour to support Black women and girls across the South. Okay, Black women they got a 9-city tour that trying to empower Black women and Black girls. They're going from Atlanta to Birmingham to Jackson to New Orleans to Houston to Montgomery, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Tampa, and all of that kind of. It's a 9-city Southern tour led by Black women organizing to try to get investments in healing and, stuff for Black women and girls. So keep your eyes out on that as well. Let's move on to some other stuff in Black news in Black America. How come we got to get the worst of everything? This study is indicating that Black folks carry twice the medical debt than their white counterparts. Surprise, surprise, surprise. For every $1,000 of debt that white people have, Black folks got $2,000 twice. Your mama always told us we had to do everything twice. We had to be twice as good, twice as everything to get the same thing everybody else gets. Also in African American news here, they're having a historic Black site is receiving a grant, a $3 million grant in preservation of some funding here for an African American Heritage Action Fund, and is getting this money to help invest into Black history and so forth. Okay. We got a lot of stuff that's happening in our world that we don't talk about. Also in Black news this morning, African American news, National Sickle Cell held their convention in Los Angeles. All right, next month is August. September is National Sickle Cell Month, and here in Escambia, Santa Rosa County, we also also do something for Black Sickle Cell Month. I think Walter Wallace is our local leader of the local sickle cell organization. He's always out front trying to do some good in the neighborhood. And y'all need to volunteer and help the brother out. And in fact, he needs somebody to kind of help cater organization on what happened when he retired from this. We don't know. But anyway, other stuff in Black news, y'all, like Maternal and Health Advocates observe Rest and Repair and Recreation Day. This is a nationwide 22-minute pause that they take on this. Keep your eyes out on what's happening in Black America, y'all. I'm just trying to help you keep up with what's happening. We got, just like everybody else, we got free animated stories launched by Black children. And look at this. Look at this stuff here. Doctor, what's the name? Robin might be him or what that write these children books. Dr. G, I call her Dr. G, Rachel's sister. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about, Robin?
Yeah, Dr. Gaston.
Dr. Gaston, they write books and stuff like that. But anyway, we got
I love Gracie.
Yeah. So, but anyway, the Gracie series and so forth. That you know what I'm talking about here. All right. And then another before I get out of African American story, the 11-year-old boy, they send read to shelter dogs for 100 hours. A young man is receiving national attention after he spent over 100 hours reading aloud to shelter dogs to try to comfort the animals and help them become more adoptable. See, good things that happening in Black America. We ain't always the one that we comes up with, like this fella here, charged with DUI. Okay, he's a Texas service member charged with DUI after crashing his car and injuring a Pensacola girl here. Okay, locally. So keep your eyes out on that story. Go to your normal news sources that you use, WAR, Pensacola News Journal, all of these news sources, WALA and WKRG. No, they would give you all detail. I just have time for the headline. Also, I don't know what's happening over in Pritchard, Alabama. They've made 2 more arrests over there. These 2 got the chief of police and his colonel, lieutenant or something over there. Well, I don't know. So they said they're just gonna have to start all over with the Pritchard Police Department over there. Okay, and Pritchard is an all-Black town. See, these kind of stuff that I don't like to report, but what it is. All right, another thing too that that I don't know if I remember the story way back. This man made a threat about he would assassinate Kamala Harris, and if she were ran for president. He ended up, y'all need to read about this story. They, instead of sending his ass to jail, he ended up getting community service or something like that. Okay. All right. And then other story you might want to read about in Black America. This has got to be with Chapman Bowman and his brothers and stuff like that. They suing each other over some stuff over there. All right. This man here also in Black news you can use. He's an opera singer. Okay, Jubilant Sykes' son. He stabbed him more than 73 times as his mom showered upstairs. Oh. Wow, isn't that something? All right, let's go on to let me get out of here. Also here, go on to some more depressing news. I told you that Pete Hegseth is trying to get $87 million. The House last night, I believe, passed a $1.15 trillion defense policy bill. Okay, and I guess it got to go to the Senate for approval, but we'll see what happens with that story. Y'all need to stand by that. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before I bring my Thursday morning guest on this morning, which is Miss Robin Richard, is Cuba. Why don't they just leave Cuba the hell alone? A country that's struggling as much as Cuba, and they haven't done anything, and they trying to determine whether or not we should attack Cuba. That is so stupid, if you ask me. But nobody asked me. You don't have to ask me. I'm going to give you my opinion about it, whether they asked me or not. Good morning, Robin. How you doing? Sure. Robin is on with us every morning. I get so worked up in these news stories, Robin.
You are our local Roland Martin. You're the Gulf Coast Roland Martin. You are.
Oh, is that right?
You are opinionated and passionate and opinionated. That's what I'm talking about. And you're for the community.
Yeah, I'm pretty opinionated now. That is for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely, because Robin, I don't know. These stories, I tell you the truth. Sometimes I wonder about us, okay? About us and where we're going with our future and everything. I tell everybody, if they want ejected news, they don't want to, they better get it from somewhere else.
Listen, I don't worry about us. I have to remind people, I'll just say in general, that at least and particularly legally, and I know there are some social and cultural things that sometimes they lag, sometimes they're far ahead, but legally we have been full citizens in this country since 1 or 2 years after the Civil War. So 1865, 1866, 1867, 1868, whenever that amendment was ratified. And the I'm talking about just since then, you've got, if I can do my math, 2026 minus, you've got 160 years of amazing progress. Absolutely amazing progress. And I'm not even talking about being on the continent of Africa and being on other continents and making, including North America, and making these amazing strides. I'm talking about just for those African Americans who were enslaved, and then the African Americans who others had the mentality of slavery. Now, there were some African Americans who had the mentality of slavery, and there's an argument to say that sometimes that still goes on today. But you have to give credit to the 99, I'm going to use that ivory soap, 99.44% folks who have just made it, and to hold us to the 0.56 0.56% of folks who just ain't got their stuff together yet. And, I mean, and
Robin,
who is that? Somebody used to say the they don't report on the planes that land. One of the former sheriffs used to say that they don't report on the. I'm sure he got it from somewhere else. They don't report on the planes that land. And so think of the 160 years that we have landed the plane fabulously, have helped design the plane and elements on the plane, and yeah, we don't let one hiccup. I'm okay. I'm off of my opinionated, passionate.
No, but keep that thought in mind. But I agree with you about the 99.4. Okay.
0.44. Give Ivory Soap the full credit. 0.44.
Okay, the 99.44.
I was raised on Ivory Soap. I saw that every time we peeled away that.
I want to tell you about the 99.4.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you about my 80-20 rule. Okay.
Okay.
Now, in my 80-20 rule, I always say that you don't worry about the 80%. Okay. Because you can live. I tell people. I wrote my relationship book one time, Robin, which I never published, but I did write it, and I wrote it based on the 80-20 rule, but I kind of reversed it a little bit so I can make it a little. I called it the 20-80 rule. Okay.
Okay.
Now I wrote this book for women because women and men are so far apart. That book that other guy wrote about men are from Mars and women.
Oh, women are from Venus. Somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. He wrote this book, and he's absolutely right because we are actually from two different planets. Okay. And how we communicate with each other. But I always say there's people and these women always out there looking for the perfect guy. And I always say, no, you're not going to find the perfect guy. Okay. If you can find somebody that meets 80% of what you want, you may want to consider going for it because there's what I call the 80% plus rule. Okay. Because it could be more than 80, it could be 99%, but I doubt you ever get that high. But you're never going to get 100%er. If you can find, but just sticking with my rule, I just say if you can find somebody that made 80% of what you want, you might want to go ahead and try to go for it. Okay. But however, the 80% is important. Okay. But what's more important than the 80% is that 20%, because that 20% is far more important than that 80%. Let me tell you why. Because if you meet somebody that meets 80% of your needs, but you're going to have to be able to live with that 20% in order for it to work. Okay. If that 20% doesn't work, 80% doesn't mean anything. That's for an example of what I use in my book. For an example, you know how women, y'all want to try to change men. Okay. I change them. Maybe
I ain't
drinking,
agreeing with that. I ain't agreeing, but okay. Keep going.
But anyway, maybe the man in your life, his 20% might be drinking. Okay. Well, she's saying, I can live with that. If you can't live with that drinking, then you need to walk on. But they or it might be womanizing. That 20% might be womanizing. The 20% might be drugs. Whatever that 20% is, you're gonna have to be able to live with that 20% in order to make that 80% work. Because when you go into a relationship, and if you're thinking that you can change that 20%, then you still only got an 80%. You may be able to do it, but I doubt it. But you only got an 80% chance of changing it. But you still got lacking a 20%. So I look at your 99.44 is the same way. There's 5.6 that's left, right?
It's just like it's so minuscule. But go ahead. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Take for an example. If you buy blueberries, okay, for an example, okay, 44% of those blueberries are good, but you got one in there that's rotten, okay? Now, do you think just because that one blueberry that's rotten in there, or unless you remove it, it's going to affect everything else in that 90? That after a while, if you leave that 0.54 in there, it's going to eat up that 99 if you don't carve it out some kind of way, right? So you got to remove.
Your attention isn't on it prolonged. So to use your blueberry, since we're done with our blueberries here, and so you don't give that much attention. We give a lot of attention to those negatives. When you hear these tropes that, there are more black men in prison than in college. Your intelligence is how low you sag your pants is an indication of your intelligence. Your zip code is an indication of your intelligence. We have bought into some of these tropes and stereotypes and myths, I think, so much that they have become norm and normalized. And so we end up repeating them to generations. I was thinking this morning, 3:00 this morning, about this whole idea, something that's going on in our family, of this generational trauma, how we can carry things forward that don't even belong to us. Don't even belong. This trauma happened to your parents, but you have taken on the mantle to carry it forward. Yeah. This trauma is theirs. I remember when my mother and father separated. I was 28 years old. I'm 25 now. I was 28 years old. And so I was getting ready to come home on a vacation. And I didn't know where to go. So I ended up staying with my sister. And so I think I had like maybe, let's say I had a 2-week vacation. I don't remember what it was. But I ended up staying with my sister. And so my mother she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, Mama, I don't know where to go. I don't know." She had moved out, so I didn't know whether to go home where, Daddy was there, or to go to, she had moved into the city. I didn't know whether to go there. And she said, "Listen," she said, "this is our business." She said, "This is between your daddy and me. This is our business. We love you. When you come home, you can stay with your sister. That's not the issue." She said, "But you spend time with me. You spend an equal amount of time with your father." Yeah. And so, she said, "But this is ours." She said, "This doesn't change how we feel about you." Because my thing was, why didn't you separate when I was 3 so I could deal with it? This ain't got nothing to do with you. And so she effectively stopped me from carrying this trauma that right. And Dad had. Yeah. And so this was theirs. And so I had to put my, as I say, I think I can say this with the FCC, I had to put my big girl panties on and say, okay, wait, this is some grown folk stuff. I am still this young adult at 28. I'm coming into my adulthood. I've got some years to go, but this is a lesson that this woman, my mother, this woman taught me that I did not deserve. I did not need to carry on the trauma that her and Daddy were going through. It was not mine to bear. And so, I can acknowledge it, that this happened but I don't carry that forward. And so then I don't need to the rest of my life, the rest of their life, certainly I don't need to hold that standard that they had at that one point in their life to bear going forward. That sort of generational trauma that we carry when we continue to talk about, and I'm not saying when we continue to, is negativize a word? Negativize a word? When we say things like that, like, when we say, well, pull your pants up. Well, that has nothing to do with my intelligence. How I wear my hair has nothing to do with my intelligence. Just ask, what's that man, Elon Musk? Right. Just ask him. I don't think I've ever seen Elon Musk in a suit. And he worked $1 billion, and he's held up to this standard. How many, as the language goes, you got how many baby mamas? He's fathered all these, but because he has some zeros and commas, lots of zeros and commas in his
a lot of zeros.
Yeah, then we've said that that's okay. But Junebug on the corner, that's my word because we got Junebugs in the country. Junebug on the corner, because he's in that same thing, but he didn't have as many zeros or commas in his, and we hold him to a different standard. So that's I'm gonna get off my opinionated, passionate soapbox because I'm following the Vernon Watson model this morning.
Well, that's good. Can I go back to something you said earlier?
Hold on. Can I just talk about you real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
That shirt is banging. That shirt. You wearing that shirt, bro. Is it glitter or is it because it's doing?
No, I don't know what it is.
It's doing something on TV like
it's just like somebody just, how you get some paint and just splash it everywhere.
Oh, like what's his name that does the what's his name that does that sales? I cannot think of his name now. But I've been watching, one of my favorite actors is Coleman Domingo, and so he is hosting Jimmy Kimmel this week, and so of course this man dresses. He dresses not to impress you. He dresses to impress himself, and so
did you see him out there with him Monday night? He came out there looked like he had his what you call it, your nightgown? What you call it when you what you call it when you get ready to go to bed, but you. Your house coat on. It looked like he had a house coat suit on.
Yeah, it was longer. Yeah. Then he had that tuxedo on. I said, I think I need to get Lloyd Richard that tuxedo. I'm gonna save my pennies up, and it may take me 12 years, but that tuxedo, I know that tuxedo cost $10,000. I'm gonna get Lloyd the $10 one now. I'm gonna go down to
you gonna get him the knockoff version of it.
Hey, where's Gladys when you need it? Gladys died and gone to heaven. Where's Gladys when you need her? I gotta call Sheila or call
Nehemiah. Go to Nehemiah.
Nehemiah, can you get that? Can you get this? Can you get the Coleman Domingo look for Lord Richard? That brother can dress. That brother can. Both Coleman and.
Did you see how he was trying to dress up? What's the sidekick name? Guillermo. Yeah, he was trying to dress Guillermo up the other night.
Guillermo look, in the words of Iceberg Slim, Guillermo looked like Pimp Daddy. Guillermo looked like he looked like a shark. That hat was fine with the feather in it.
All right, I want to go back to something you said earlier. Okay. I don't know how we're going to resolve our problem in the Black community. Okay, and you mentioned something about we focus on the kids that go to college. Okay, but we don't always focus on the kids that go to prison. So
no, I didn't say that. I was saying that we say that we go into these myths where we say that there are more Black men in prison than in college. And what we do is instead of looking at the hard numbers, we're looking at percentages or ratios, and it skews
I know, but my point is, and I get you what you're saying, okay, but my point is, we praise these folks and we spend a lot of energy on those that are going to college, but we don't spend much time on those that go into prison. Okay. But I think in my world, I see that the focus should be in reverse, because those that are doing good, they're going to do good anyway. Okay. So why spend time on them? Let's reach back and try to get those guys that ladies or whomever they are that go into prison. Let's spend our time. It's just like it's just like I was reading a story the other day, and you might have heard what I was saying. They were spending the millions and millions of dollars out west somewhere or another to build a detention center sort of for homeless people. Okay, and then you're gonna take X millions of dollars to maintain that facility every day, every year, and so forth. Millions of dollars to maintain it. To me, that don't make sense to me. Okay, maybe because I'm a Democratic socialist. Why don't they take those millions of dollars and invest it into those homeless or unhoused people and let them be independent? Why you want to put millions of dollars into a concentration camp and then have people held prisoner as opposed to giving them a hand up? You know, if you was to supplement those folks, if they had an income, maybe they wouldn't be as homeless, or maybe wouldn't be homeless if they had a source of income and those millions of dollars rather than putting them into facilities and hiring people to maintain them. Just give it directly. What am I off base with that?
I don't know that you're off base. I won't say you're on base. I think you're in the game. Certainly, I think a lot of that can be true. And so, you know, in these parallel universes, a lot of things can be true at the same time. I think the first thing when I hear something like that is follow the money. So you know, they say the prison industrial complex is a growth industry, and so if it is in fact modeling this after the correction system, then it's a growth industry, and there is in fact money to be made. It was one of the former mayors told me, he said, Robin, there's money in disaster. Excuse me. Yeah. And so, you know, we have a hurricane we just came through, and I go with the remnants of a tropical storm.
Bertha.
Bertha, yeah. And so there is, you know, there's cleanup, there's insurance, there's renovating, and you may, excuse me, while you're renovating for this, restoring this, you say, well, let's go ahead and remodel. And so there is money in that. And so if someone is taking on that model to corral people who need a home into one place, then there's probably some money at the end of that rainbow. There's probably some money at the end of that rainbow. But I think a couple things can be true, just like we were talking about the way that we talk about the African American story. A lot of things can be true. That it is true that you have folks in college. It's true you have folks in trade school. It's true you have folks on the street hanging on the corner intentionally. It's true you have folks in prison who have done these misdeeds, and this is their accountability for that. And so all of those things can be true. One is no more or less than the other. I remember I was in as part of a social psychology class. I wanted to study. It was almost that same thing. Excuse me. It was what impact, I think my thesis was my question was, what was the impact of education on, what was it? The impact of how education impacted someone going to college, and so, or someone committing a crime. I think that was it, because you always heard this you know, sort of stereotype. You don't finish college, you're going to end up in prison, all this. And I got a chance to interview this was a medium security prison. And I got a chance to interview someone who was hadn't finished high school, someone who had high school and some college, and then someone who had a PhD.
Right.
And so which one, based on what you've heard, had committed the murder?
Probably upon PhD, but go ahead.
But yeah, that was it. that was it. And I didn't know, part of it was in this way to sort of have a controlled blind study in this very small population. I didn't know what they did. And our agreement was they would not tell me what they did. I'd be doggone this guy who
had what PhD mean. People have to die.
Oh, well, okay. All right. I didn't know that going in. Glad I found this out, how many ever years later. decades later. And so he had a PhD. But what happened was on the street, what had happened was he came home and found his wife in the arms of somebody else. I think they lived on a boat or something. Came home and found his, and he this is, they call it, in the throes of passion. And so so he ended up murdering. And so his PhD didn't matter. So I don't know that you can equate this, because again, we equate this. It's like, what's his name, Michael Milken, who did the financial crimes and went to jail. And so I think we categorize these things together. People who are homeless or unhoused don't have this intelligence, or they're not smart or something like that. So these folks are able to survive. Maybe not thrive the way that we do, but they are certainly able to survive.
We always, but the problem is, you just illustrated a little bit about your example, okay, and what your thesis and what your hypotheses found out, that we focus in more on the positive than we do the negative. I'm going back to my what's
wrong with that? What's wrong?
Let me tell you what's wrong with it. Okay, let me tell you what's wrong with it.
And even in the focusing, it's not to say that you discount those negative things that happen. It is the acknowledgement of those, and then how do you move forward? Our challenges is when we, back to my example of the generational trauma, how we end up holding those things and carrying them forward.
Yeah. Well, my example,
your granddaddy was no good, so you're no good. My great grandchildren are going to be that we project.
But all that stuff is self-fulfilling prophecy. But what I'm saying is is that not necessarily not the focus. We got Cliff coming in because he got to give us a report on last week about that young lady. But we'll get him in.
Okay.
But I want to get back to the point of, I think that we should focus on the negative. Just like I tell you about my 80-20 rule. Instead of focusing on that 80%, let's focus on that 20%. Go back to my example I told you about the blueberry, okay? If you don't remove, it's just like cancer. If you don't remove that blueberry out of that bunch of 99, 44, 100% other blueberries, it's going to affect everything else. So why focus on, okay, let's eat as many of these blueberries as we can before they rot. Let's remove this. Let's put some emphasis on that one blueberry, that 0.54 or that 20%, whatever you want to call it, and let's fix that problem for it's just like cancer.
We're agreeing. We're agreeing. We don't focus on it. We deal with it and move on. Let me deal with this. Let me remove this blueberry here, and then let me eat this. I go out to the backyard and I see a tree full of blueberries. If I go, oh, let me see that one blueberry that's rotten. Okay, now I got to go and take off all of our blueberries. No, I'm gonna sit here and eat all the positive blueberries. I'm back to your shirt. Your shirt is doing some amazing things. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. And then we kind of match. I put on this scarf. I was trying to up myself. Homeboy come on and he looked like Coleman Domingo stepped out, like him and Coleman Domingo share a closet. So I was trying to step up with my scarf.
Homeboy Jerry.
Yeah. So that, I think we're saying we're taking two different roads to get to the same place, and I think that's all. Okay. That's all right. Is you taking out? Okay. You're saying focus on those blueberries. I'm saying take it out, move it. Replant it. Replant that blueberry, blueberry. Replant it. Eat the other ones.
Okay. I think we got Derek. Derek, you sitting in for Jared this morning? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Derek.
Okay, before you get in all that, I got Cliff sitting in the wing waiting. Cliff was on. Cliff, flip your camera horizontally, if you will. Can you flip your camera horizontally, Cliff?
Let me see. Yeah. Well,
yeah, there you go. Good morning. How you doing? Cliff was on last week. Good morning,
everybody.
He recap what you was on last week about the young lady in the aviation program, and give us an update and status on that, if you will. Okay, y'all. This is Mr. Cliff Curtis, of the.
Good morning, everybody.
Tell them, introduce yourself, Cliff.
Yeah, I'm the president of the General Daniel Chappie James Flight Academy here in Pensacola, and I just wanted to recap regarding our student Mackenzie Peterson, who is just about to cross the finish line in obtaining her private pilot's license. And I was putting out a campaign to get community involvement so we can help this young lady get across the finish line. So we still anticipate her completing that process and getting her certificate around the first week in August. And that's weather dependent, where she can go fly and do her last 2 cross countries and do her check ride, all of that sort of thing. So, it's kind of like plus or minus 2 or 3 days there. So flight training is very, very expensive. And she got 2 scholarships, but the funding fell a little bit short for her to get across the finish line. So I was putting out an appeal to the community to help support her getting across the finish line. In addition to the community, I obviously have some friends, Navy men and women who I know, supporters of the Flight Academy here in the community who've been supporting us for years as well. And a lot of people from out of town who we have relationships with. And I'm here to report that we were trying to raise $4,000, which would help her finish this certification. And as of 2 days ago, we reached that goal of $4,200. So she does now have the money to complete the program. And we're very excited about that. Thank you, Mrs. Richard, for your donation. We really appreciate that as well. But what I was really trying to do is, get the community kind of involved in helping our kids. I would say, 98% of the donations came in from, people we already know and our supporters and from people out of town. So, we'll continue to reach out to the community to support not only the Chappie James Flight Academy, but the Chappie James Museum. So, we can always use volunteers. Funding is always an issue. So if there's any way that you want to be involved or help us out, there are ways to do that. And we just think it's important for us in our community to support our own. And this is a really special venture that Mackenzie's going through before she heads off to Southern Illinois University, where she'll be majoring in aviation management.
Amen. Yay. Thank you. Yep. Now, but if they can continue to contribute, can they, Cliff?
Yeah, there's still time to contribute as well. You just simply, as I mentioned before, just go to ChappieJamesFlightAcademy.org, and that's our website. And you can go right to our donate button and donate, and then just put in the comments that you're donating to Mackenzie Peterson's flight training fund. That way we'll direct those dollars specifically for her to complete this process.
All right. Now you can also donate generally to the Flight Academy as well, right?
Yeah, we take donations all the time just to support our programming because, we're all volunteer staff. We don't get paid. No one's getting any money to run our programs. And fortunately, we have the city who built a facility for the museum and the Flight Academy. So we don't have any overhead in terms of those kind of things. But to run our programs, to keep our simulators in working order, our internet and all these other things that administratively we need to continue to support our programs is insurance. There's a whole lot of other things that we do have to pay for that community can help us at large to do that. That way we can continue to provide the free programs that we offer to the kids. We don't charge any of our families or kids for any of the programs that we run. It's just really based on all grants and donations that we receive.
Okay. All righty. We're going to probably have to get you on one day specifically to talk about the Flight Academy program. that y'all offer out there as well, Cliff. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind that
Yes,
we
sir.
can schedule a time we can talk about that as well. Okay.
All
I know
right. Well, thank you very
guys been
much.
running you guys been running that program for a long time. My daughter, when she was about 12 or 13, she went through y'all program and that summer program that y'all have, and
Right.
she learned it. I went up with her when she did her little simulated flight. When y'all was over at Ferguson Field, you're not flying out of Ferguson Field anymore, are you?
Yes, we are. It's now called Roscoe Field.
Roscoe, okay.
There's a new ownership there.
Roscoe, that means Roscoe Black?
The owners are not African American at all. But as a matter of fact, and I'll reach out to you again. Our summer camp, usually the kids fly on graduation day, but we moved that along with the Experimental Aircraft Owners Association. They're the group that flies our kids to October. So our kids are going to be flying from the summer camp program on October the 3rd now at Roscoe Field. And the reason for that move is you can see how hot it is during this time of the year. And a lot of these small airplanes that the men and women fly, they don't have air conditioning. So that is an issue when it comes to, safety and making sure that the kids and the pilots don't get overheated. So collectively, we decided to move that to the fall.
Can I ask a question? I got 2 questions. Vernon, the first one is for you. Did you take your heart medicine when you went up with your granddaughter or your daughter? Did you take your heart medicine?
I did. I did not. I said, well, if it go down, I go down. If I go down with my baby, I'm going to take. I did not. But Cliff, I know we talk about a lot of things. What are you talking about, Willis? Airplanes don't have air conditioning, and they got air in this thing.
That's why they need your donation, Vernon, to get air conditioning in those. That's why donations are important.
You mean tell me small planes don't have air conditioning because they don't need it when they get up there?
Some of the newer airplanes, we're talking about general aviation airplanes now, and we're talking about Cessna 172s, Cessna 150s, Pipers. They do not have air conditioning in them. They were not manufactured and built to have that. They were just meant to have just airflow from opening the door. And then when the pilots get up in the air, they open up the windows and the airflow really kind of keeps the pilots cool at that point. However, when you're on the ground and you're taxiing around and you're waiting, the heat can build up. Now, aircraft like new general aircraft like the Cirrus, which a couple of pilots own, they do have air conditioning. So it's moving in that direction.
That's where that sound comes from. Where them fans at? That you take the fan up there.
But then again, you're talking about a $350,000, $400,000 small airplane. So when you're talking about adding those things to it.
Wow.
Okay. All right, Clifford. Anything else you want to share with us this morning?
I have a follow-up question or follow-up point for Cliff that as a fundraising thing. You remember I'm 25 years old, so you should encourage people, however old they are, that's how much they should donate monthly or quarterly. I'm 25. Vernon, you're
25.
All of a sudden you're 25. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be putting some more information out. I look forward to the next exchange there. We will be having our inaugural golf fundraiser coming up in the spring. So more to follow on that. That'll be something. We're trying to do something fun and get the golfers involved or just people just want to come out and support and make it a fun exchange in that way. And I think you mentioned before, I talked to one of my volunteers. We will be putting on a class for seniors that are interested in learning more about flying.
Oh, then all of a sudden I'm not 25.
Wait, whoa, stop. You said seniors?
Those 50 plus. Let me be clear, 50 plus.
Okay, I want to volunteer. I want to fly.
Me too.
One of my goals. I want to fly before I die. Okay. So now I want to put that in my bucket list. Okay.
I'm glad you said before and not and. I'm glad you put that in there. Good. Okay.
Well, right now it's going to be about a month class. We'll meet probably once a week for a couple of hours, and be ready to get some information. Be ready to study, and be ready to be tested.
I got to put some work into it too.
Yes, you do.
Damn. But anyway, let me know. I'm serious. I'm curious about that.
No problem.
That's one thing I always wanted to do. I wanted to fly. I wanted to get my private pilot license. I just didn't have it like that when I was coming up.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that. Yeah. In the Navy, when I went into the Navy, they thought I was too stupid enough. They couldn't even send me they couldn't even send me to a service school. So I didn't get a chance to do all of that. So I would love. I'm serious though. One of the things I always wanted to do was flying and dancing. I achieved the dancing thing, but the flying I haven't accomplished yet. So,
can you take the class without going? Without flying? Yeah. Can you do that? Those
you want to go to ground school?
Comfortable.
No, it's not going to be a class where you go flying per se. Okay. We're going to teach you the fundamentals of aviation and really give you a short course and curriculum on what it takes to get flight training and to understand the principles of aerodynamics, to understand, what FAA medical certifications you need, navigation principles. I mean, all of those things that a private pilot needs to learn in order to start this journey. So that's kind of the goal for this particular class.
Clear. Wait a minute now. All those simulators y'all got there, you mean to tell me we're not going to get a chance to fly those simulators?
Now, no, we're going to include the simulators now, of course.
Okay, yeah. Because you're going to have to. That's good enough for me.
You're going to have to demonstrate, a takeoff, maintaining certain altitudes, climbing and descending to different altitudes, and landing. So all of those will be incorporated in this class.
I'm in.
Yes.
I'm in.
Me too.
All of a sudden, I'm not 25. I'm
Robin and the Judge Judah was correct and said instead of me and Robin, just sign up Robin and I for that course, okay?
All right, I got you guys as the first of many that's going to be in the class.
I'm gonna get my goggles. I'm gonna get my hat. I already got my scarf.
And your scarf. You gotta have. You got your scarf. Okay.
You got your scarf already.
Scarf up like that. That's it. I'm gonna be.
Hey, I got my goggles.
What's her name? What's the sister pilot? The first one. Bessie Coleman.
Bessie. Yeah. You're gonna be the black. You're gonna be the black Bessie.
Call me Bessie.
Now,
on the ground.
Have you guys ever heard of? And I'm going to let you go. Have you guys ever heard of Cornelius Coffee?
I have not.
No.
Google Cornelius Coffee.
Won't you tell me? I know how to Google it. You tell us about it.
Yeah, in 1938, he started a flight school, and he was the first to have his pilot certificate and his maintenance, his airplane and power plants certification. And he and Willa Brown, who is one of the African Americans first to fly and get her certification, they started this school for pilots and maintenance people. And they ran that for 7 years, and they up in Chicago. And this program was under the civilian pilots training program that was started by the U.S. government, and they actually trained Tuskegee Airmen up at that field. And unfortunately, when the war ended and those programs kind of ceased, that was kind of the end of their thing. So look, Black people have been doing this for a long time. This ain't something new.
Yeah, I know.
Quick thing. Cornelius Coffee was from Arkansas. I'm just saying. Ooh,
Kansas?
Hey, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Cornelius Coffee was from Newport, Arkansas. I'm saying. Guys.
So those are some of the things you're going to be learning in our class too. You got to learn some history.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Derek, I know Jared just jumped on. Derek, I don't mean to ignore you, but you got some questions since you the younger, since you a pookie butt of this group here. You got some questions for us.
I don't know. Are you younger than 25, Derek? Are you younger than 25? I'm just asking. Okay, see? All right.
Jerry, what about you? You got some questions for Cliff? Cliff, you going already? You got some.
No.
I was just gonna say, you go back and before the Wright brothers supposedly invented the plane, there was a brothers who had invented the plane and put it on the on the train for the World Fair, and it came up missing. And after that, the Wright brothers came out with it. So I'm just saying.
Sound like to me, Jerry.
Not surprising.
Hey,
Oh,
Jerry,
my
don't sound like to me that would sound like they were the wrong brothers to me instead of the Wright brothers.
Oh my goodness
Yeah.
gracious.
These brothers or something.
Y'all gonna upset the whole flight industry with your facts now, with the truth. Ain't nobody asking for the truth now.
Well, y'all hold on here. I got Mr. Porter. Y'all know Mr. Porter on here. Mr. Porter, hang on. I'm gonna try to get him in there.
He
always
has the question.
Mr. Porter, go ahead.
Oh, you want me? Okay. I want to know if he's still flying.
Wait a minute. He want to know what now?
If Cliff is still flying.
Okay, he want to know if Cliff is still flying. The answer, Cliff, can you hear that? You want to answer?
Well, you repeated the question for me. No, I am not still flying. My focus is on making sure that youth get exposed to flying. So my career is over. 40 years of flying between the military and civilian and United Airlines is enough for the brother right
I cannot hear a thing.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cliff.
Oh, I was saying between the military and
I
United Airlines.
I cannot hear a thing.
Okay.
He cannot hear you.
Can't hear.
Okay.
Right. Well, just turn the TV on, Mr. Porter. Just hang up and turn the TV on. You can hear him. He will respond to you, okay? Just listen at him on television, okay?
Okay, I'll listen to him on television. Okay.
No. And repeat your question again for him so he can act. Go ahead, Cliff.
Somebody's gone.
No, he just hung up. He listened at us on television. Now let me tell you about Mr. Porter. Okay, he's 88 years old. He actually had a pilot license when he was a young man. But go ahead and answer his question. And he was a Navy man, and so he's always interested in these subjects. I'm gonna let you go ahead and respond to his question. Okay.
Yeah, his question, I believe, is, am I still flying? And the answer is no, I am not. I'm putting all of my energy and my focus on exposing our youth here in Pensacola and the surrounding areas to aviation and aviation careers. My flying career spans just about 40 years, and I've hung it up, and enough is enough, and I'm happy to move on and just share what my experiences over the years with the next generation, and let that evolve from there. As I stand on the shoulders of many others who came before me in this industry.
Well, share with him your career, because he may not be familiar that you was an airline pilot, you're the Navy pilot, and since he loved aviation, he loved military and so forth. So share with him your story real quickly. Okay?
Well, growing up here in Pensacola, as Chappie James did, I was enamored by flying, because this is a cradle of naval aviation. My dad spent 20 years in the United States Navy as a hospital corpsman. He retired in 1968. So I was always around military. So my passion for aviation started with my grandmother, who exposed myself and another neighbor girl to a flight from Pensacola to Mobile on an airline back in, I don't know, I was 5 years old, so it was a long time ago. So that seed got planted in me, and then when I went off to college, after that, I decided that I wanted to enter the Navy, and I became a Navy pilot and did that. Had several tours, including Desert Storm. Came back as an instructor at NAS Whiting Field for several years, and then in the reserves, as you know, Mr. Watson, I went over to Duke Field and flew with the 5th Special Operations Squadron C-130 unit there for several years. But during that transition, I was hired by United Airlines in 1995 and spent almost 29 years flying for them, flying different airplanes based in Chicago. I was based in DC and Houston, and retired in 2023. So that's a long time for me. And I was happy to retire. I don't miss the flying. I do miss the people and the camaraderie over the years, not only with military personnel, but with my friends at United Airlines. And I've been asked to do some aviation consulting with different companies, but I'm having a good time just hanging out and drinking coffee in the morning and not having to answer to anybody but myself.
Well, very good, Cliff. Very, very good. Yeah, you have a great career. You retired from was it United? You retired from?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I was going to ask you one question about that. Have you what types of aircraft did you fly with United? Did you ever get a chance to fly the one of those big 747?
So United got rid of their 747s several years ago. There's a lot of things that come into play in what aircraft you desire to fly. I flew the 727, the 737. There's two versions of that. I flew the 757, the 767, and the Airbus 319 and the 320. Those were the airplanes that I flew for United during my career. And a lot of what you choose to fly is based on seniority. And basically, I had enough seniority to fly any of the equipment that the United had, but it was a matter of where you fell on the pecking order in terms of your skill. So I focused a lot of my attention on being senior in my category. As an example, I was a captain on the Airbus 320 for 14 years, and I left the United, retired United as the captain on that. But in Houston, I was a number 2 guy in the base. So I got whatever schedule I wanted during that time. And that was key for me to be able to choose. Hey, you can choose stuff like, hey, I don't want to fly before 9 o'clock in the morning. I want to be home before 5. I mean, those are some of the things and the nuances in the airline industry as you become senior in a category that you can bid for or tell the computer that you want based on your seniority. So seniority was very, very important to me. I could have flown the 787 and the 777, but honestly, I did 9 years of international flying as a first officer. So as a captain doing that, I decided that wasn't going to be my bag as I aged out of the industry. I thought it was more important for me to get sleep instead of transiting through different time zones and wreaking more havoc on my body. So there's a lot of variables that go into what airplanes pilots decide they want to fly.
Cliff, what's the weirdest place you've had to land?
In the military or airlines? Or,
either one. What's the weirdest place?
Probably Wake Island in the military was probably one of my memorable experiences. Although it's a bona fide airfield out there right in the middle of nowhere, that was interesting to be able to do that. For United Airlines, the most challenging place to land was up in the Northwest. There was an airport. I can't even call the name of the airport there, but it was like flying into a bowl. The mountains surrounding that airport were steep, and the wind often was not favorable to the runway that you can fly an instrument landing approach, or ILS, what we call, which is like the airplane kind of guides itself to the airport. So a lot of times you had to do an approach, a non-precision approach, which we call it, which required exceptional piloting skills to even execute that around the mountainous terrain. So that was always a challenge. I had to study 2 days before I knew I was going into that airport and really kind of chair fly the approach in there. So then I wouldn't be doing it cold. And when I was instructing on the Airbus and training new pilots, first officers and captains, I encouraged them to do that because, you can find yourself in some very challenging airports and situations.
Did you ever have to chair train for snakes on the plane? Like if a snake got loose on the plane, or if a kangaroo you were carrying a kangaroo and it got out and started hopping, did you ever have to chair train for that?
I never had to chair train for that, but I can tell you some passengers I had to deal with might as well have been kangaroos and snakes that I had to deal with.
That's why
that was always a challenging.
Duct tape.
Yeah, that was always a challenging thing. Yeah, it didn't happen often, but I've had to deal with some interesting situations.
Wow.
All right. Anybody else got any question for Cliff?
Yeah, well, I
Go
don't
ahead,
have
Jerry.
a question, but I had to go in and check my book. The guy that invented the plane before the Wright brother was Charles Frederick Page, and then he put the plane on the train to send it to the World Fair, and the plane came up missing. And right after that, the Wright brothers came up with a plane. So I just wanted everybody to know that the first plane was not built by the Wright brothers. It was built by a black man in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I think I lost audio. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, his screen is frozen too, so he may be having some challenges.
Yeah, Cliff, we can still hear you if you want to get back in, okay? All right. Okay. You back now, Cliff.
I think he in and out now.
Frozen, yeah.
Okay, but he'll jump back in here.
And Robin, the first car was built by the Ambrose family in Fort Smith, Arkansas.
See, Vernon. That's why you need to get your pronunciation enough.
No, you know.
Correct. You better. What that man say? Birdman say you better put some respect on my name. Put some respect on my state.
But you know what though.
He was a friend. Just want to say this. He was a friend with Henry Ford, right?
Yeah.
Henry Ford got the schematics and everything of the and went back and built the car and then mass produced it. So
we gonna talk about that trickery later. I'm just telling Vernon need to put some respect on our state now.
Robin.
John Johnson, what's her name? Cage Bird sings. Maya Angelou, Cheryl, what's her name? Cheryl the comedian.
Underwood.
Cheryl Underwood. All of these folks from Daisy Bates. Wait a minute. And Gerald will know this one. Say McIntosh. You don't. Ray McIntosh,
Robin,
sweet potato pie man. Put some respect on that state, Vernon.
Robin, I concede. I really concede to that. I think you all got it right. I think Kansas got it wrong. Okay, I honestly do think Kansas got it wrong because maybe they want to be a little more sophisticated, but I think they got it wrong. When you think about it, KANSAS. That's Kassaw, right? That's Kassaw. You sound it out, right?
From a family of educators. Get Vernon Watson. You come from a family of educators. Get Vernon Watson. Tell him to put some respect on our state. I'm gonna get Birdman on you, Vernon.
So Arkansas is the right pronunciation, as far as I'm concerned. Kansas got it wrong. They should be called Kassaw instead of Kansas. They should be called Kassaw. Yeah, right. So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, jump in. Hold on. I'm not getting your audio for some reason.
Yeah, we can hear him though, Dwyer.
You can hear him. I can hear him too, but it's not coming out over the air. But go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Derek.
Oh yeah.
Derek. I don't know what I cannot hear you over the air. I'm hearing you in the Zoom thing. I'm hearing you. Get out and come back in if you don't mind, because for whatever reason it's not translating over the air what you're saying. So we're missing everything that you're saying. Unless you want to repeat it, go ahead and just get out and come back in again if you don't mind. No, I got him completely off of there.
Was
Jerry, I can hear you, And I can hear.
Since we're talking about the meetings, our town hall meeting is tonight at 6:00. Move for Change town hall meeting, and also I know Derek probably hit on this too. On August 1st, we got Equal Ground coming to do the legislative breakdown. So I know Derek gonna talk about that a little bit as well. I see Derek is back. Go ahead, Derek.
All right, Derek. I can't hear you now over the air. I cannot hear you. But I can hear you, but I cannot hear you over the air. For whatever reason, I'm not. No, but you go ahead. You go ahead and continue what you're saying, and Jerry, we would kind of repeat it in a little bit. But go ahead, Derek. While I work on it, it might be on my end, but I work on it as you talk here. But I'm hearing everybody, but I cannot hear you over the air. I'm hearing everybody else over the air, but you.
One thorn in the side for our current governor, Ron DeSantis, and she will be here on Tuesday, July the 28th. Her first stop, and I sent you the flyer, Mr. Vernon. I don't know if you have it, but her first stop is she'll be having a chat and chew at the Ella Jordan African American History Museum, which is located at 423 North C Street, and that's going to be at 1:30 p.m. And then at 3:00, she's going to be canvassing in Brent, in the areas of Brent, and also in Woodland Heights, and that goes from 3 to 5. And then if you can't make it for lunch, certainly she has a community rally that she's going to be doing at the Black Cafe and Bookstore, which is Nicole Dixon's bookstore, in case those of you are unfamiliar. And that's at 3498 Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. And then if none of those work, she'll be doing a karaoke kickback, which is going to be at 1216 North. And then that's we all know Tommy's establishment, which is at 1216 North 9th Avenue. So she's spending a lot of time in Pensacola. This is now her third visit to Pensacola, and she really does want to earn your vote. What I will say to you is that she's the only senatorial candidate that has spent time in Pensacola that wants to hear from the people. Respectfully, the other candidate came to Pensacola and he said, you guys can talk to him if you pay him $100. This is a free event, and that she wants to come and engage, hear what you have to say, learn how she can better represent the needs of the Panhandle, if she goes to Washington. So I would encourage each of you all to check her out, go out, come out. Again, it's at 1:30 at the Ella Jordan African American History Museum. And if you can't do that, then at 6:00, there's a rally at the Black Cafe and Bookstore, and then the karaoke kickback at 8:00 at 1216 North. And that's on Tuesday, July the 28th. And lastly, I do want to take the opportunity to mention our wonderful partners, Equal Ground, is having their 2026 legislative session debrief. And if you've been to one of their events, it's a great opportunity to learn what has happened in the Florida legislature, all the laws that are impacting you that have been passed this year. It's a free event, and it's on Saturday, August the 1st at Hearst Chapel AME. The doors open at 8:30 a.m. It is most of the day event, but what I will tell you is that we are feeding you for free. So you can come and get a wonderful hot breakfast. The event will start at 10 a.m. The presentation will start with Equal Ground at 10 a.m. Then we will go until about noon, and we will have a hot lunch. And then starting at about 1:15, we'll come together between Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton counties to talk about what the next steps are, things that you need to know about the August election, about the November elections. Get an opportunity to hear from some of the candidates that are running, and just engage. And what I will say is, this is another opportunity. If you've not, we also have another Democratic gubernatorial candidate named Dana Marie Foster, who is a young Black woman out of Broward County in the Fort Lauderdale area, who is running for governor. She has agreed to be here for that event as well. So if you're still wondering which of the six, if you're a registered Democrat, you have no idea who to vote for on the gubernatorial side, this is an opportunity to come out and hear from her as well. So again, the two events that I encourage you all to look out for will be on Tuesday, July 28th, which will be with Representative Angie Nixon, who is the senatorial candidate, and then Saturday, August 1st at Hearst Chapel, which is with Equal Ground. And that event is co-sponsored by Movement for Change, the Northwest Florida Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement, Real Women Radio Foundation, the League of Women Voters, quite a few folks, the National Coalition for 100 Black Women, the NAACP for Escambias and Okaloosa County. We just have a host of partners that are come together to engage in this event. Black Voters Matter will be there as well, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. So it's a great event. It's free, and I encourage you all to come out and get involved.
All right, Derek. I think we were able to resolve your audio issue. I think folks got most of it, Derek, and we appreciate you. Okay.
No
Go
problem.
ahead, Derek.
I'm just going to add, Derek, are you going to be able to make it tonight to our town hall meeting?
Yes, sure. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Speaking of Angie Nixon, we're going to have her here on this morning show one day next week, y'all. We're trying to get the date, which day we're going to have, and we'll let you know. Okay?
Perfect. Absolutely.
Yeah, because we've had her a few times on our voices. So yeah, she's been fighting. She's
the one that went to the what's called the bullhorn, Jerry.
Yes.
Didn't she go to Congress with the bullhorn and they had her arrested?
Yes.
The DeSantis wanted to do. What did that crazy DeSantis? What was she in protesting that for? What was that?
She was protesting the redistricting efforts. Well, you know what you have to say with Representative Angie Nixon is that she's such a fighter that you have to ask, which time are you referencing? And the point in time that you're referencing, I guess more recently, is the one that where she was protesting the redistricting efforts that Governor DeSantis led here in the state of Florida. At the behest of the man that sits in the White House, right? And so she's been very vocal about that. You may also have known her, I'm forgetting how long ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, 2 years ago, when they had the shooting. If you recall, the white man who shot the boys on the campus of Edward Waters at the Dollar General that happened in Jacksonville several years ago. And you saw the Ron DeSantis get on the microphone and do his phony press conference. She's the one standing there looking at him with the side eye. If you've seen that iconic picture, that's Angie Nixon. She's also been, when it's talk about rent stabilization, the list can go on and on about the stuff that she is known for, but she just recently, and I think what you're referencing, she was just arrested by sitting in the governor's office after the redistricting passed. She said she wanted to have conversations, and he refused, and which ultimately led to her arrest. And right now, she's facing up to 2 years in jail, or I guess technically prison with that. So she is absolutely a fighter, and I would encourage everybody to come out for one of those events.
Derek, I appreciate, as a constituent, I appreciate not only politicians, but public officials who are willing to, I don't know if it's the best word, sacrifice not only themselves, but their positions for the greater good. If they know that they're doing the right thing for this righteous reason and not just, as you alluded to, some press or something like that, but you really have this vision of where you're going. And sometimes it takes the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and sometimes that squeaky wheel gets replaced with you. If you don't squeak, then how do people know? And so just really do appreciate people like her, and many others who fight. Someone asked me who my hero was. We have an upcoming thing with the Equity Project Alliance in August. I'm going to be a part of, and one of the prep questions was, who is your hero? And instantly Shirley Chisholm has always been Shirley Chisholm, who teacher, educator, out of New York, and just the way that she fought and vocalized her opposition and her advocacy for things. So people like that, especially women, but especially people like that who from all walks of life, who dare to speak up and fight. And as Vernon and I start open and have those passionate opinions, but in that case, you hope our public politicians can back it up by facts. So just really appreciate people like that. Yeah, don't necessarily have to agree with them, and I think that's the beauty of living in a democracy. As flawed as we are, I think that's the beauty of it, is that we deserve to have those people who are listened to. We need to listen to people whose views are opposite of ours, so that we can learn and grow. And so kudos to her for fighting. I think that's hats off to her. Yeah.
And Robbie, you made a great point, is that you want someone who is willing to engage in the dialogue and have the conversations, so that you can, whether, to your point, whether you agree or disagree, the point is to have the conversation, right? And that's how you learn and you grow. You certainly don't. For me, what I would never want in the person who represents me is someone who's unwilling to listen, unwilling to be to engage with voters, someone who just is there to make sure that they just assume that they got it right, and they're like, they know what's best, and that's I think that's a lot of the problem that we have right now. And certainly we need more folks who are willing to engage and listen. And so for me, I certainly applaud her efforts. Like, I think she's been a people's champion, whether right, wrong, or indifferent. She's willing to engage and stand up and hear what people have to say. Because I know one of the things I will say, being here, and I think we can all agree, particularly here in Pensacola, we oftentimes don't get a lot of folks, who are campaigning at the statewide level, at the federal level, who will come to Pensacola and hear what we have to say. When they make stops in Florida, the first stop they make is Miami, then they go to Orlando, and then Tampa, and then Jacksonville. They go everywhere else in North Florida, whether you're talking about Escambia County or Santa Rosa County, Okaloosa County, hell, even Leon County, which is where the capital is. They don't come there. They talk about what problems face in Broward County, and Broward County problems, Fort Lauderdale problems, and Miami problems are not those of Pensacola. We are two totally different places in the state of Florida, and we have different issues that we fight for. So
that's right. Tell them to come to LA. Tell them to come over here to LA.
I know, right? Right? So it's good to have somebody that's willing to come and engage, and not just hear, okay, I'm going to be here. Let me make this quick stop for 30 minutes, or let me make this quick stop for an hour. But an entire day is crazy. You just don't see that from candidates. You don't see a whole day's worth of stuff. And
tell them about the beaches. Tell them about the beaches.
I know, right?
Martin, tell them the dream. Martin, tell them about the beaches, Derek.
You just don't see it. Yeah.
Well, y'all, Derek, speaking of beaches, and I know you're gonna put a frown on your face. I mean, you're gonna puzzle on your face. But since you're there at Bikini Bottom, there, would you make sure that SpongeBob and Patrick and Mr. Krabs and all those folks are registered to vote down in Bikini Bottom down there, where you at down there? I know. Just turn around, look. You see SpongeBob in the, you see his pineapple and
he's
No,
going by.
make sure that
SpongeBob
everybody
is
else can
going
see
by.
it. We can all look together to see if you got it, right?
see, yeah. Patrick, where you at?
Where's he at? There it goes.
I thought I say Nemo. I just saw Nemo.
Nemo. You saw Nemo? Well, we need to get them. We need to get all of them to register to vote.
There we go. Right.
That's just as important as hearing the candidates is being ready to pull the proverbial lever.
Yep.
Yeah. That's just, I still like, and I know Derek, I know you push vote by mail. I still like going in. I love going in to see those poll workers. POLL, Vernon, before you get happy. POLL. Those.
Wait a minute, Rob. See that, Robin? That's my thing. I told y'all, always working on the pond. What about the original poll workers? They vote too. That's
right.
That's right. Don't forget those poll workers. That's an honest profession, ain't it?
Best ad, as I said last week, best ad by Movement for Change. And so I love going in, seeing those poll workers. I love talking to other voters. You know, when you get out and they see your I voted sticker, it's something. It's I love that human interaction. We've been doing the as part of the Escambia County and Carrera-Escarosa, the Summer Youth Employment Program, which goes in for us officially on Friday. And so it's and I forget my point now. I'm just but it's so important to we were talking about real intelligence versus, so they've been learning about AI. And I tell them, I said, you can talk about AI, but don't forget RI, the real intelligence, and seeing people engaging is so important. Those social skills and understanding social norms and things like that. And one of those is their responsibility, especially because we have a lot of them who are under 18, understanding the power and the responsibility to vote and having an experience to go in there. And I know you vote by mail. I know, I get it. I got you.
Well, see what it is
on election day. I love that.
and I'm right there with you, Robin. And me personally, I absolutely go, and I don't vote on election day. I always early vote. But what I do is, it's not necessarily that I'm a proponent of voting by mail. What I am a proponent of is increasing your odds and your probability of voting, right? And so for me, what it is knowing that 90% or 92% of the people who receive a vote by mail ballot will actually vote. I'm also, that just increases the likelihood that you're going to cast your ballot. So whether you go in person, whether you send it off, whether you go on election day, to me, it makes never mind. But I want to make sure that the likelihood that you're going to cast your ballot is more high than not. And so
we should all dress up on election day. I think we should, be like Coleman Domingo, and we should and like Jerry. We should dress. Well, Jerry dress up every day. We should dress up and go. Because
I'll agree to that if I can borrow Mr. Vernon's sparkly shirt. That he has going on right now. Like, I'm not sure if it's sequins. I don't know what it is.
I know,
it's like shining. I was like, I don't know what this is, but
see what you're doing, homeboy.
It works.
Homeboy, you're raising the game here. You're raising our game. We're all. Yeah. You might have on some cargo shorts on the bottom.
I used to come in. I used to wear when I first started the show off. I had my wife beater on. Then I changed that to a t-shirt. then a pullover. Now I'm upgrading. I see how Jerry dressed every morning.
That's right. That's the influence.
I'm wearing a tie one of these days.
You see my scarf, Jerry? I just want you to see. You see my scarf? You see? I'm trying to pull it up.
You ain't trying to hide no marks, are you?
Hey, we ain't talking about that right now. We ain't trying to leave Lori Richard out of this. We ain't talking about that right now. Leave that alone. Stay in your corner, Vern. Stay in your corner. I'm trying to be like Bessie Coleman now. Now, Clifton already got us excited about this class. I don't know if y'all heard.
Robin, really, look. Only thing you missing is your that leather helmet and some goggles. You look just like a Bessie Coleman.
That's what I'm saying. I have inspiration. I will tell y'all this. In college, we used to have we had for Halloween, you do the whole dress up thing. And so I dressed up as Shirley Chisholm. That was my first adult costume. I had the bad makeup and all. She wore that makeup that was a little bit too light for her skin. So
Derek, I know Derek got to go. Derek,
Derek, I think Derek's gone. He had an appointment.
I switched over to my phone, but I'm still here.
Okay. Good. All right. Okay, go ahead, Derek. I know you got to go, Derek.
No, that's
so you got anything else?
Nope, that's it. I hope, what I will do is I will tell you, I hope to see you guys next Tuesday, and hopefully at some point in time, Mr. Vernon, if folks have questions regarding their ballots, I know we get a lot of them, a lot of folks who call in who ask about the referendum that's on the ballot and want to have more information on that. If there's an opportunity where we can call and discuss that, I'm happy to do so. But what I will tell you is, in the meantime, if people have questions regarding choices on their ballot or things that they need a little bit more clarity on, please feel free to call the Escambia Democratic Party headquarters at 850-407-7997. Again, that's 850-407-7997. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Right.
I'm with Jill on this. I think you don't give. Andrew Stanton said when you're showing a movie, whatever, you don't give them 4, you give them 2 plus 2, because people are smart enough to what. I'm gonna call Jill to hold out. Hold on, Jill. You give them 2 plus 2, and then you let them make their best decision. But because I think when you tell them who to vote for, is people may not understand the whole of the politics of that person. I think you have to give them you give them the pros and cons. That's why you give her. That's why you give her all of the factual information on that, so that she understands the what. Well, and that's her decision. And so I think that you give her that. Y'all keep fighting all the way to the ballot box. You keep fighting. She votes. She I know. I said, hey, you know what? I said all of that, and my audio was damn off. But I guess that might be a good thing. My audio was off. Okay. But anyhow, Robin, go ahead. What they heard. What they
did not hear me say is y'all should show folks how to vote. Okay. And I'm not seriously. Let me talk. Okay. I think that many times, though, that you're not familiar with a lot of folks don't study these stuff like you, me, and Jerry and so forth. And sometimes, and I know when I go into the polling booth sometimes, when you're talking about judges, should we keep this judge, keep that judge, for the lesser known candidates, I sometimes don't know who to vote for. And I don't know sometimes, and I might choose the wrong one. Rather than choosing the wrong one or not voting at all, if I heard somebody say that, well, okay, the Democratic Party suggests that you vote maybe the straight ticket line or maybe vote. And if you're in a primary, that's when it comes to be a problem when you're in a primary and you just can't vote the Democratic line straight because everybody's Democrat. So what's the best Democrat should I vote for? What the best president got to serve my interest? I sometimes think that is a suggestion. In other words, yeah, I think we ought to tell them how to vote.
I understand. I can respect what you're saying, even as I disagree with this deal that you should vote a straight ticket line outside of your primary. I understand inside, because I think with elections coming around every 2 or 4 years, you have that responsibility to really engage in the process, and part of that is doing some of that. And yes, candidates have the nice, shiny, pretty website or the flyer and all that. And I will just since both of them are on now, I have before an election, and not understanding, I've called my homeboy and say, give me some information, because I have not done this deep research, and so give me who, or I've asked Derek when we've been in a political thing, what do you think of this candidate? I ask him on the side because he's representing a whole constituency, and so he gives me this one-on-one insight that should never go anywhere except my ears. And so but that's still gathering information. And I think as we grow, especially our young folks, as they grow into maturity on this, they need to understand their responsibility on this full engagement, because a lot of them may think that it stops once that vote gets cast, that's the end of the democratic process. And so so Movement for Change stands as a beacon to show that continuous engagement, what's going on with the county, particularly something I'm interested in with the library decision that has been made and is ongoing, is you have to continuously engage in that, and you find your niche, you find your way in to whether it's, I'm interested, I want to make sure agriculture is right, I want to make sure education's right, whichever way. I think that you should continuously engage. But I think if don't vote for this person, they may think, well, okay, I didn't vote for them, I voted for them, I'm done. And that's actually, it starts, it really does. That's another phase after that vote is cast.
Let me give you a case in point, okay? For an example like this, I guess it's what you call a referendum. I guess it's referendum. If they got on the ballot, should we have a supervised, an appointed
or elected
supervisor, or an elected? Now the arguments go pros and cons, Jerry. So I think that people ought to know the information, because I don't know what's the advantage of having an appointed one over a elected one. There's obviously some advantages to it or disadvantages, and they want to go back to it. So, but I want to have the best decision possible when I go in that booth, when I cast that ballot, that I'm doing the right thing. Jerry, help me out. So what should I vote for? That or vote against that based on what you know about that? I'm just giving you that as an example, okay?
Okay.
I'm asking you, Jerry McIntosh, should I vote for a superintendent or not? Elected or appointed? What's the advantage of it?
I'm going to defer to Derek. My thing has always been in a democracy that we should be able to elect whoever is want to represent us and represent the whole. Now there are differences that one may see as far as a board appointed superintendent one would say that, if you elect someone and that person is elected by, say, the majority, the minority often don't get represented properly, and meaning that they can, but that means that minority has to be so in unison to make sure that they get the representation that they need, that that person cannot ignore them. But by the same token, there may be different positions that someone else have that show that this person has to, by his appointment, represent the whole. So oftentimes that's not the case, and it's not always the case in representation and by elected officials either. Derek, what's your call?
Is Derek, you still on?
I am indeed, yes.
Okay, Derek, I want to know, for me, should I vote for elected or appointed? Should I vote against it? And I guess if it's going to be on the ballot, you're going to have to vote for it or vote it down. Vote it up or vote it down, right? I want to know.
Okay, so I'm going to do the best of. I'm going to try to do the best of both of what you and Robin said, right? And tell you both things. So let me give you the foreground and the way that it reads. And I'm gonna preface my statement by saying, in a perfect world, Democrats and in a democracy would always champion the voice of the people having their say, right? What I will say is, however, in Escambia County, in the case where we are talking about whether or not you want the superintendent of schools to be elected or appointed, the position of the Escambia Democrats and Democrats as a whole is that for the superintendent of schools, it is best to keep an appointed superintendent. So our recommendation is the way you vote on that is no. Now, the background on that is that you have to understand what the intent and the merit is. Please remember that in 2018, or the superintendent, and this item went to ballot for citizens in Escambia County to overwhelmingly vote on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead. You're trying to drop that for a second.
Okay. Well, this measure went to the people back in 2018 for citizens in Escambia County to overwhelmingly decide on in the general election, right? Escambia County residents overwhelmingly voted to go to an appointed superintendent. That was the will of the people in the general election. Now, we had an appointed superintendent, and for the folks that oppose having more diversity in administration in Escambia County schools, having more Black and brown principals, the assistant principals, and people at the administrative level, we saw that progress being made under an appointed superintendent. Some folks didn't like that. So now they made a decision to fire the appointed superintendent and replace him with what we would, a nomenclature call some of the good old boys. And that's who we have now. That person would like to remain as superintendent, but can't because they're in drop, which means that they have to retire from the Escambia County schools next year. So what they have said, and if you go to these school board meetings, what they have said is, we want to preserve a conservative way of life in Escambia County within our schools. We want to keep Black and LGBT themed books out of the classroom. So in order to do that, they want to go back to an elected superintendent so that the superintendent doesn't have any accountability as to what happens. Right now, an appointed superintendent at least has accountability to the school board. Elected superintendents don't have accountability until you reelect them, the next election cycle. So they can run rec shop on what our district are. We've seen $1 million lawsuits being filed and being litigated. We have a shortage of students and funding in the Escambia County schools, all because of the decisions that have been made since we have replaced the original appointed superintendent with the new superintendent. This is a dangerous direction that they would like to go. And the main goal, if I think we can all agree on, is that education should be focused on education. And we need to keep politics out of education and out of the classroom. And the best way to do that is to have an appointed superintendent. So in this case, we're saying, let's keep an appointed superintendent. So on the referendum, you would vote no.
Okay, that's what I want to know, because I was conflicted about how should I vote. I'm going to vote the position of the Democratic Party is no. And I think those are the kinds of information that I think that we should be telling folks, because in this case, at least for Escambia County, it's voting no for keeping an appointed superintendent is in the best interest of our folks, for our community. So I think we ought to know that, and we should tell people that's the way you should vote.
Well,
I mean, that's my point.
And I think that I appreciate the explanation, Derek. And I think that there is still a different explanation. I think that there is some different insight that the voter deserves to understand. And I'm not qualifying elected or appointed. I'm saying that that you should give them 2 + 2, and that in the terms of your granddaughter, that you say, okay, you asked her the reasons why she. I know you're getting the heebie-jeebies bringing up his name. But you give the reasons why she's giving you the reasons why she thinks. But then you broaden her. You broaden her landscape and
but it didn't make any difference.
So, well, but I'm saying, but still, that's her decision because she's the voter. You still broaden her landscape, and then in the end, and that's why we need this. You give them both sides. I appreciate Derek giving.
I'm not fattening frog for snakes, Robin. I'm not fattening frog for snakes. Anybody in my household, depending on my resources, gonna vote for our best interest. Okay.
Well,
no way in hell I'm gonna let her vote for Trump.
There was a campaign for I think it was aimed at Republican women, and they put whatever this campaign was, and I want to say it was on sticky notes, that they put it in bathrooms saying that something akin to your husband will not be in the voting booth with you.
No one has to know your vote.
No one has to know your vote.
That's exactly what happened. Yes.
And again, I think that we get pressured, and I just mean we as voters get pressured from all sides, and you don't know these quick 30-second ad or paid political ad by such and such. It's not even the candidate. It's skewing something. It's putting fire in some candidates' eyes and making them think that they, instead of looking at the reason, they're going on your emotions instead of this logic, to really see, again, as you said, what is in the best interest. It's like people would say, well, there were Black people who fought for the South in the Civil War. No, they were servants in the Civil War. They were not fighting to remain enslaved. Even as you may fuss about something coming out of it, they were saying they were servants. So they were in the Civil War on the side of the South, but they were serving the so-called master in that duty. They were not they were not enlisted in the war service. And so you're right. You should never fight against your own interests, and you deserve to have the full knowledge, full information of both sides. That's why these candidate forums are so important. Meeting the candidates, you ain't got to vote for them, but go out and meet the candidates and see them face to face when they come, or travel 20-30 minutes and go and meet them. I think that's just as important in doing that. I'm just taking up for your granddaughter. I'm just saying. Deserve to have all the information. Thank you, Derek.
No problem.
When I was first getting ready to vote, my mom used to take me to the booth with her to vote. when I was, I guess, about 6 years old. And so soon as, and I always, as soon as I would tell my mom, why can't I vote? And she would say, you're not old enough yet. You have to be 21. That was before they lowered it to 18. That show you how young I am, Robin.
That's right. That's you from Arkansas. That's why you look so young. You're from Arkansas.
so back then, you had to be 21. And during the Vietnam War is when the protesters began to say, if I could go and fight at 18, then I ought to be able to vote at 18. And so it got lowered to 18 at that time. And but before that, it was 21. You had to be 21. But my mom used to take us to the voting booth, and as soon as I was able to vote, I've been voting ever since. But one of the things that when I was growing in church, some of the preachers would get up and say, I can't tell you who to vote for, but I'm gonna tell you who I'm voting for. And everybody knew what time it was because they done went and studied. They was able to go in to these different events and find out what the platform of the candidate was and all of that. And they will come back and say, this person has done this. And sometimes it will be like it's a balance. And you can choose because both of these people are good. But then there were others when they would say, now this person here, this is what they did and this is what they did. I'm voting for this person over here because of what they did, And but I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for. And they were really telling you who to vote for.
Now, one of the cautions we're gonna have to make sure that we understand in our Black community, all Black folks ain't kinfolk.
That's
you don't
true.
vote. You just don't vote for a person just because they're Black. Clarence Thomas should have taught us that lesson, if nothing else.
We have really never did that. It was white people who voted for white people because they were white, but Black folks always evaluated that Black person and said,
I violated it one time, Jerry.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
I voted for Barack Obama just because he was Black. I ain't know nothing about the old boy, but I did make the right decision.
Oh yeah, but you could hear in his speeches and his language that he was intellectually intelligent and had the interest of the people, even though he didn't have the power that he would need to transform the country into what he thought it should be. Because he had Congress for about a year or so. After that, the Republicans came in, the Tea Party rose, and everybody else on the right wing rose up against him, even though he was elected twice. But he had Mitch McConnell in the Senate, and the only other person he had with him at that time was Nancy Pelosi, but she had to give the gavel over to the dude that used to drink all the time. What was his name? The Speaker of the House at that time, Boehner. Boehner. Yeah. So that was his dilemma. But you could tell by a person's speech and what they have done. He was an organizer from Illinois, from Chicago, and he went on to become a state senator and then the Senate, and he ran for president.
What was the remember the episode on Good Times when I was trying to see, remember the politician when he was doing all these favors and things like that to gain people's vote. You remember him, because he was out of Chicago, so that
I know.
But that he would do these things, and that was part of his thing. He was a ward boss. I remember that. But you vote for him, and he was doing these crooked things, and so you can do that and stick with. You can say you're what do they call them, blue dog Democrats or red dog Republican. I don't know what that
progressive,
that you vote party line regardless. This cat could be a scoundrel, and you vote for her, or this person is a well, we're seeing it in office now where people with these felonies and these egregious things that people are voting for regardless because they're saying, they're sticking with the Republican Party. And I think that hurts not only the person because you haven't gotten in on your merits. You've gotten in because you belong to a party. And that does a disservice to the voter too, to say, well, I'm just going to vote, this party line. And so that's why I think this information like Derek is providing, you give both sides and you let the voter, even your granddaughter, I'm coming back to her because I'm cheering for that sister. You never know if she's going to turn out to be Shirley Chisholm now. The next Shirley Chisholm, that you give them the information. All right, I'm gonna get off of this.
But I think it's really important. You're right, to give people the information so they can vote informed, particularly during the primary, because you don't know who's who. Now, in the general election, that's when a lot of people probably vote more party line in a general election than they do in the primary. So in the general election, you have to decide on which person is the best person, regardless of whether they're Democrat or Republican, whether they're black or white or whatever the case may be. I think that's when you really need to really sharpen up all of your skills, because sometimes Republicans would serve you better than a Democrat. Sometimes it's vice versa. So you got to be really up on top of the game. I don't think you ought to just vote just party line if it's not going to be to your best interest. I see this happening a lot of time over on the other side. I think people, and I think I see this with white people too. I think they vote sometimes against their own interest, because when they vote for a person, they vote like voting for Trump sometimes. When it's all said and done, he probably done as much harm or more harm to white people, poor white people, than it is black people. So and maybe they consider that is the casualty of war. I don't know.
Well, and I think I was thinking of I had the opportunity to meet longtime mayor and of Tuskegee, ahead of Omar Neal, Johnny Ford. We were at a convention in Birmingham and a conference rather in Birmingham, and he was there, and so I was so excited. And I called my dad. I said, I met this, and he would do the whole thing about the black mayors and on the choo-choo train. He had this whole spiel he would do. And so I told my dad, I said, well, I met him. He said, Johnny Ford, the one who went from Democratic to Republican. And I said, okay, I don't know that. I didn't know. I didn't know him. So I went back, and the next day at the conference, reintroduced myself, and I said, Mayor Ford, I said, I mentioned that I met you to my father, and so he said this, and I said, so can you tell me, I'm not voting for you. I don't know. I'm not one of your constituents, but I want to know, inquiring minds want to know why you switch from one party to another. He said, well, that's where the money was. so that was his deal. He thought that he was doing at the time the best for his constituents when he did that. Sometimes, and I'm not saying it was in this case with Mayor Ford, because we saw our friend Omar O'Neill came in and did some different things. Sometimes you do things in the voting booth immediately, but those long-term implications come out to be something very different than you thought. So you think, I'm going to vote for this guy because he's this particular party, because in the case of your granddaughter, because he did this one thing, but then you see the error of your ways, and you don't get to 3 or 4 years later until you can make that correction, unless something happens in the interim. In a special election has to happen, and so I think I think even politicians make their decisions sometimes on flawed information. And so
can I throw a monkey wrench in?
Democratic process, small d democratic process that our democracy encourages us to do, to vote. May not be the best, but it just encourages us to vote.
What about let's just throw a wrinkle in this for a minute. And sometimes you really get conflicted sometimes on what you I'm gonna use Marion Barry as an example, okay?
Really?
Yeah, really. I mean, I think Marion Barry served the folks okay, but he had issues, he had baggage. And so he was even reelected.
Yeah, but Marion Barry did stuff. Marion Barry changed DC for black people. And that's why the black people in DC loved it.
Yeah.
They got contracts with the city. They got jobs with the city.
And the footage was grainy. The footage was grainy.
Yeah. But, later on, after, he had been mayor for so long, he got caught up and set up. With the people knew he had issues, and he, like anybody, we all got some, all got some issues, and people can exploit those issues if they know what they are.
Yeah.
And Barry was kind of out there,
Well, I want to throw another. But we got to get out of here in a few minutes. Throw another wrench in this.
Let me just say, the footage was grainy. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. I'm hearing folks now saying, with what's his name that got arrested the other day?
They ran for governor.
Yeah, what's his name?
What's his name, Derek?
Come on now. But anyway, some folks are saying now because of his issue that well, I'm glad he didn't get elected. Okay. I don't agree with that, even though everybody got issues, but he still would have made a better governor than Ron DeSantis, if you ask me.
Much better.
Yeah. So but again, go back, we're coming full circle now. Robin. We started off the conversation, Jerry. You weren't on here.
Andrew Gillum.
Andrew Gillum was his name. We started off with the conversation earlier on this morning about the 80-20 rule or the 20-80 rule that I said.
Of the 99.44% rule.
Yeah, the 99, the Irish soap rule. You're never going to get 100% of anything. So what we're saying is that if you get 80% of what you can find, you might want to go for it. As long as that remaining amount, you can live with that remaining amount. It's the same thing with politicians. If we're going to vote for somebody, they're not going to be perfect politicians, okay? But if you can find a politician that at least meets 80% of your, based on my rules, it's 80% plus, as long as that 20% that you can live with, I would say go vote for them. So how we come back in full circle.
A great example is Mondani in New York. This brother have changed the trajectory of New York by the work he has done in 6 months. He have just about implemented everything that he said he was going to do, and for housing, for making sure people have good transportation to jobs and all of that. This dude is moving, and he moving quickly. And I know he understands that I have to move fast if I while the heat is on. And then he's using the tax base of New York to help so many people there. And people need to read up on what he's doing, because the brother is he came in doing what they said was impossible to do, making sure that people can
he got his own project 2026.
Yeah. And he done got that taken care of. And so he can cruise a little bit now, making sure that he can do the other things that he wants to do, because he done proved that it can be done by not accepting no for an answer, and so you're going to have people like him and what's the governor, Westmore, and Maryland. In Maryland, he's doing a brilliant job, but they trying to get rid of him because he is doing a brilliant job, and there are others who are out there who are making a difference in the political world, but they don't get the kind of ad buy that others do that's doing nothing, and you definitely they'll get the coverage that Trump got from day one, Trump got over $1 billion worth of ads in his first term. Coming back second, because even in his second term, it was making money for the media, and they didn't care about asking the questions or putting forth what he had done before, his background. They just wanted to make the money, and so when he got there, he became like a dictator. The very press that propped him up and put him in power, he turned against them and called them enemy of the people. And many of the people believed it, because anything they said about him, they said that it was fake news.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, and
All
I
right,
think,
y'all.
you know, Lloyd's Aunt Rosa always says that you do the best you can. So you cast you vote. You make that vote, whether in person or by mail. You make that vote, and then you continue engaging and holding those folks accountable. It doesn't end. You can't sit back in your rocking chair and then wait for somebody to sign a check and mail it to you, Vernon's granddaughter. You can't do that, and you got to see, really trace that money, where that check, where that money is coming from, or in that case, where the money is going. And so, when someone is emboldening themselves financially and not the country, then you say, oh, I didn't make the best decision voting for that person. Let me make sure I engage so that doesn't happen again. You do the best you can, and
All right, well.
But I just want to say, don't everybody, don't forget our town hall information meeting this evening at It's Personal at 2610 West Savanti Street. So be sure to come out. We have information that Derek going to bring the information on the legislative breakdown and all of that. So hopefully we'll see everybody there. That's again at 6:00 p.m. this evening at It's Personal, 2610 West Savanti Street.
Friday.
I got to get out of here.
Yep. Pensacola Network is tomorrow. Speaking of money, Erin Wilmer, financial planner with Wilmer Investments, a long time. She was with Edward Jones. She had an agency with Edward Jones for a long time, and so she has found immense success in that, and does really great things in the community. And so we're having Pensacola Network 13th anniversary tomorrow. So we just come in and celebrate. And again, thanks to Par 4, we got some grown-up drinks. So some extra special drinks coming in.
Refreshments.
Some refreshments. Bring your friends, and bring somebody who doesn't vote like you, so you can have that conversation over a drink.
Yeah. All right, y'all. For me, for a program note tonight, every fourth Thursday, just before every fourth Friday, for Robin and have Pensacola Network, we have a special show on domestic violence called No More Silence with Carolyn Williams. So at 7:00 tonight. So if you want to join that, because that is certainly is a issue, particularly in our community as well, but not only in our community, but across the nation. We need to pay more attention to that. And if you're involved in situations like domestic violence, you might want to stay tuned so you can learn to do some tips on how to get out of it, because it could be deadly. Okay, it could be deadly. So, folks, anything else before we go?
Thank you.
I got to get out of here.
All right, me too. I got to get out of here. We always run late.
Thank you for saying the 99.44% possibilities of the world, Vernon.
All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody for coming on. Folks, I'll see you on tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, the end of the week. So we will catch you on the, I hope your weekend works out well for you. Now, just like Omar, we talked about my boy Omar, like he always say, I love you with a perfect love. And it's the same kind of thing here, y'all. I love you. And the blues hound would say, you's the only is one that I love. I'll see you tomorrow, y'all.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now.